Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Presented by Patriot Patch Company, Camerado. How's everybody tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Doing good.
Yeah, doing good here.
Good. Ken's back. Welcome back, Ken. We're live.
Still troubleshooting this light.
All right, it is what it is. So, gives Chris more stuff to do. So, we're going to jump right in, and we'll do what we did later, because Todd is on a deadline. So,
I would say a complete deadline, maybe about an hour, hour and a half, and then I got to go pick up my wife.
Okay. We're going to give you the big screen, Todd. So this is Todd from EP Integrations. As you can see over his shoulder, he has this lovely little annealer right behind him.
I don't think you make that out or not, but yeah, thanks for having me on, friend.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. Thanks
I
for...
think it's been like, about a year I did the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got something new and exciting. Hey, what's that blue thing sitting there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for those that don't know, my name's Todd Elfers with EP Integrations. My business partner, which is here, his name's Scott Peterson. Elfers and Peterson, that's where the EP Integrations comes from. But for those who aren't familiar with our product, we sell the EP 2.0 annealer. It's a flame-based annealer, and it can anneal. The annealer itself can anneal from 5.7 to, it's so big I can't get it in the picture, 50 BMG, and everything in between, regardless if it has a rim or not. It can switch over from casing to casing in literally less than 30 seconds. You don't have to add or remove any parts. And that's kind of where our annealer really shines. You don't have to add or remove any parts. You don't have to swap out any wheels. It's all completely toolless. You can literally do it in seconds, which obviously some of you guys have our annealer.
I did a okay job of showing it off. I could have done better, so I apologize for that. But I did show how you can switch cartridges easily. So
yeah,
I'm feeling attacked. There's
a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, it swaps over pretty darn quick. And we got tons of videos on our YouTube channel showing that. So.
I put a video on mine, but good old YouTube decided to be the devils they are and take it down.
What's that?
YouTube decided to take my video down for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, they're notorious for that. That's
after 3.5 years of being up.
Well, I mean, look what it's stupid. That's why I think now that I can actually, so one of the things that we're planning on doing is we're planning on not going to YouTube anymore, but I may change that. So anyway, so you've got the 2.0 behind you.
Yep. And we just added our case feeder kit.
Yes.
Yes, and some of you guys haven't seen those videos yet. They went live a couple weeks ago. So the case feeder kit allows you to add a Dillon XL 750 case feeder to our annealer. I've said this from the beginning, and I'll kind of repeat it again. And there's a reason why we never put a hopper on our annealer. Is our theory is if you have to physically pick up the brass and orientate that brass manually, piece by piece, even if you have to grab little handfuls, you're still orientating them, and then put them into a hopper. And we're like, well, if we're gonna do that, we're just gonna do a single feed fence, but eventually we're gonna have a case feeder. If like I said, if you have to physically pick up each piece, put it in a hopper, or put it on a single feed fence, by the time you swap out wheels, swap out parts, grab tools, I'm already 10 pieces in. And That's just our method to our madness. And eventually we wanted to add a case feeder to our EP20 annealer, and that's where the new case design came in. But the case feeder kit that just went live on our website a couple weeks ago comes with everything you need to attach the Dillon XL750 case feeder to our EP20 annealer. And currently we're selling those right now for $74.99. And that comes with everything you need other than the case feeder. Usually the XL case feeders, XL750 Dillon case feeders, you can get off Amazon for, off memory, I want to say $400. The additional plates are, I think, 55. But on Amazon right now for $400, you get the case feeder and one plate, and they have a selection of different plates that you can choose from small rifle, large rifle, and magnum rifle. And also what kind of makes our case feeder kit add-on really shine is the fact that that is also adjustable without needing any tools. We'll adjust from casing to casing in less than a minute, and that will adjust from 300 blackout to 338 Lapua. That this shuttle here coming off the Dillon XL feeder will allow those casings to slide through. And it doesn't matter if it has a rim or no rim, like this 30-30, it's absolutely no issue whatsoever. And man, does it ever work slick? I mean, it is, the reason why we design it this way, you can mount it physically right to the EP20 annealer. And I can actually take this off, and I can physically pull the casing right off the annealer, and I can, put it on my press if I want, and switch it back over from my press to my EP20 annealer, and then switch it back and forth, literally in less than 20 seconds. And we just went live with this, and I don't know if some of you guys have seen those videos, but if you haven't, we kind of mentioned on there that you needed the new updated case to get this to work. And our initial cases that came out, they were just a hobby case, and they were just a literal hobby case, and there was no leg extensions on here at all. And we didn't design it for that because obviously with the case feeder full of brass, it's going to be front heavy and it would want to tip forward. And we, about 2 years ago, we swapped over from that case to a new case that has extended feet. So I don't know if you can make this out or not. We knew we were eventually going to do this. So, we needed something so this didn't want to tip forward, where the old case would, we literally had to put ballast weight in here, and we had to cut holes in it. And it was not only more expensive, but it was more time intensive to, literally cut our own holes in there. And there was a place in Chippewa Falls, just north of us, where they do laser cutting, and that's where we get our cases cut now. And they're laser cut, and they're all set, ready to go. Matter of fact, the new cases coming out going forward are already going to have the pre-drilled holes in the side of the case for the case feeder add-on kit. But for those guys that have the annealer before we switched over to having the pre-drilled holes for the case feeder kit, we actually do have this jig that comes out. It comes with the kit. It literally clips on the side of the corner. It's got two pre-drilled holes. I don't know if you can make that out or not. And then it even comes with a drill bit, and it's got everything in there to drill those holes if you happen to have the EP20 annealer. We kind of call the Gen 2 case before we switched over from the old hobby case. So, but a lot of guys were emailing us, like, what am I supposed to do? And I want to say we probably sold well over 2,000 of those old Gen 1 cases on the EP20 annealer, and we did feel bad about that. So I instantly went back into the reloader room and make a quick solution to this. Is, believe it or not, I'm surprised I didn't try this before, but the new backs actually work with the old fronts. So those guys that are curious, and we were getting email after email, like, what's the solution? Well, we're definitely coming out with a solution. I'm going to come out with a video here really soon. And matter of fact, this is the Gen 1 front with the Gen 2 back, just to show you that it does work. I'm trying my best to do this, but you can kind of see both from here. This is the Gen 1 front with a Gen 2 back that has the extended legs. And this one here is the Gen 2 front and back. So, but this does work. And I can turn this on. Just kind of show it to you here quick. I try my best to do this, but it's really hard because I'm not sure where this is pointing because I can't see the front. Can you guys make this out at all?
Yep.
So this is the old Gen 1 front. You can see because it's got the engraving here. And we just swapped the back out with the front, and it 100% works. Just to show you those guys that are kind of bummed that we didn't initially design this right out of the gate for the initial Gen 1 cases. Just to show you that it does work. And right now, this is cycling 308. So you can kind of see here at the top. You know, you can dump. Gosh, I've dumped over 500 pieces, almost 600 pieces of 223 or 556 brass in here.
Okay.
And you kind of, I don't know if you guys can make this out or not. I'm trying my best to go off the screen just to kind of show you how this works. You can see this one here is going rear end first. And then I'm going to purposely swap one around so it's case mouth first. So here's one coming up with case mouth first. So you can see how that kind of works. So it orientates the brass for you and feeds it for you. Man, and does it ever split? And like I said, this will go from 300 blackout to 338 Lapua. And rim or no rim, it doesn't matter. At least on the case feeder kit. Now the case feeder kit includes the bracket, the 1x1 upright post, the relay switch where you can see the power getting turned on and off, the optical sensor with the laser. You can see there's a little bit of a laser here pointing, showing you exactly where the optical sensor is pointing. And then here is the shuttle, which is completely adjustable. You can unscrew this and raise this up and down, and you can spin this left and right. And you can literally switch from casing to casing in less than, you know, half a minute. The powering all this is using I'm actually running out of brass here. I gotta dump this. That's where it shines, man. You just dump it in. And the power is using the actual power supply that comes with the Dillon case feeder, and that power comes through here and hooks up to our wire harness.
Okay.
And then all this relay does, and its optical sensors, and the sensors saying, "Hey, I got a piece of brass. Don't let the power go through." If there is no piece of brass, then it tells the relay switch, "Hey, I need power to get another piece of brass to come down the shuttle and into the annealer." And like I said, the kit will do 300 blackout to 338 Lapua, but if you want just a single feed, you can adjust from 5.7 to 50 BMG. And like I said, rim or no rim, it just works slick as shit. So, and here is the Gen 2 cases and the Gen 1 cases. So
okay. So how does that I don't want, you don't necessarily need to turn the torch on, but how does that look with a torch set up in there?
Let me free up my hands here, my tripod. I'll try my best to do this here. Do you guys see that all right?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. So, can you tell I have a YouTube channel? So this is kind of where your torch would go right here.
Okay.
So, and then this is the small tank holder. So
Yep.
for a blue style tank. And then there's a reason why we don't mount this. We want it quick and fast. Remember, we're switching from casing to casing in less than 30 seconds. If I want to go from if I want to go from 223 all the way up to 50 BMG, and I can go do that in 30 seconds. And all that entails, if you guys haven't seen this before, and like I said, I'm trying my best to do this because I can't see the screen. I'm going off the TV on YouTube. Is if I want to adjust this, say like I want to switch over from currently this is I'm gonna pop this shuttle out, and this is 308.
Yep.
So this is called the shim plate. This screws in and out, so I can just spin that all the way home, and you'd spin this nut all the way home. And then this is the adjustable fence here. Usually you want to get the back of the fence just in front of the shim plate. So something like that. And just like that, I switched over to 50 BMG. So from 308. So, and you can slow this all the way down to a crawl or speed it up as fast as you want. So you guys making this out at all?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So, and then once again, if I want to switch back over to 308. So usually what I'll do is I'll take a piece of brass, just put it in here, just a guide. Usually I'll have about a 1/4 inch of the body of the brass before it hits the shoulder, sticking out past the face of the drum. This is where I'll lock this down and then adjust the back side of this fence just in front of the shim plate. And just like that, I went from 50 BMG to 308 and put my feeder back in here. This I might have to adjust a little bit. So let me just adjust this a little. I'm going to move you over to the side here. Hope you guys can still see this. And this is where you kind of just raise and lower this. Move this back a little bit more so you can see everything. So you can see I can raise and lower this, and then I can also spin this left and right. So usually what I'll do is I'll just put a piece in here until this falls off the shuttle, and right about there, you're done. And I'll usually test a few pieces, make sure that it's working fine. That's about it. I can turn this back on.
All right.
Move it to the right just a little bit. You might have to fine tune this just a little bit.
Yeah.
That should be good. Okay, pop you back out of here. I'm my best to do this with a camera in front of me. So yeah, and then right now we got the large rifle plate in here.
Yep.
For 308 and above, so 308 to 338 Lapua, I usually use a large rifle plate. You actually do not need the Magnum plate. The large works just fine. I can actually pause this and grab the 338 Lapua. You can see that it will fit in those slots. So if you can see that or not. But it works just fine up to 338 Lapua on the standard large rifle plate. And then, yeah, just slick as shit. And this is actually using the old Gen 1 case, and here is the Gen 2 case. So, yeah. And
very nice.
Yeah, so on the new kit we're going to provide here for those guys that are kind of jonesing with the Gen 1 cases that they want to get this case feeder kit going, is we're going to give you the entire kit. Like I said, it has the shuttle, the bracket, comes with optical sensor, the relay switch, the wire harness, everything other than Dylan. But that new kit will come with a Gen 2 rear and then 4 self-tapping screws. That's really the only difference. It's going to be the exactly same kit. It's just going to have the Gen 2 rear and 4 self-tapping screws. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, what's the cost on that going to be then?
It's not etched in stone, and I'm going to just be honest with you. I'm not saying we're giving the rear away, but we're kind of giving it away because we know there's only a certain XYZ number of Gen 2 annealers out there.
Right.
And I'm sure not all of those are using a Dillon feeder, nor would they want one. They're probably happy single feeding. They probably reload at 50 to 100 pieces at a crack.
Right.
So it's going to have the rear and 4 self-tapping screws. We're trying to keep it under $100. So probably like around $99 if I had to take a stab in the dark. That's not etched in stone. So
okay.
But that's kind of what we're shooting for. But right now, at least the kit by itself, if you already have the Gen 2 style case, it's $74.99. And then right now on our website, we do have a combo deal. If you buy the EP 2.0 annealer with the feeder kit, man, I'm going off memory here.
Well, hang on a second, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'd have to double check.
Because I have the website up.
I think it's 270. Is it 279?
298.
298. That's right. Sorry. So yeah. So no, that's right. The annealer sells for 240. By itself, the kit sells for, we'll just say $75. But if you buy the two together, 298. So yeah. But we got them in stock, ready to go. We actually got a couple going out to some YouTubers, and I'm sure you're going to see those videos here soon. So, yeah.
Well, you've managed to do something that nobody else with the flame annealers in that similar vein that are out there. You managed to automate it, right? You've taken, I think the only other style I've seen that had a feeder in it and they're built in, and you just take and kind of stack everything in it. But if you've used those, and I've used one that's it takes a while because you can't just dump them in, right?
Right.
And at the price point you're talking, that if you've already got the Dillon, it makes perfect sense to go ahead and just pay a little bit extra to get the components, especially if you've already got the Dillon feeder.
Right, and we kind of designed it that way so you can take it right off your press, move it to the annealer, and then when you're done, move it back to the press. And like I said, there is a wire harness here with a male plug. You literally just unplug that, and you can just pull it right off, and you can just put it right back on in a second. And I'm definitely not knocking the guys with annealers with hoppers. I actually know Jeff Buck with annealees. As a matter of fact, I've done videos for him on my own YouTube channel, Officers Rifles Reloading. And they're great annealers, and don't get me wrong. It's just I just found myself not using that annealer because I reload and anneal so many different types of casings. And by the time I swapped out all the parts, I actually have the old the original do-it-yourself annealer. I don't know if you guys seen this or not, but this has 300,000 views on Officers Rifles Reloading. This is how to make the do-it-yourself annealer, and I still have all the parts listed on there: the motor, the drum, the hobby case. This is kind of where it all started from, and I designed this for the casings that I reload for, but I was starting to, expand my casings and cartridges, and I'm like, man, I want something that is adjustable, but I don't want to swap out all these parts. I want something super quick, and that's where my business partner Scott Peterson and I are literally sitting in the backyard at his campfire, and he's a machinist, and I have the YouTube channel, and I already had that, and I'm like, hey man, you want to make annealers? He's like, what's an annealer? And I'm like, well, let me tell you, I have this idea. I want to make it adjustable. And so he's a very smart guy. He's he's really good when it comes to engineering and mocking stuff up. And we put our heads together and got this fully adjustable, like I said, from 5.7 to 50 BMG, rim or no rim. There's not many annealers out there that can do that and swap in literally 30 seconds or less, like I just shown you. And now the fact that we're automating it with a case feeder kit, makes even extra special. You still don't need to use tools, and you're going to swap that over in literally half a minute. I was just having issues with those hoppers, especially with bridging and swapping out wheels and casing spinning on the wheels. And a lot of guys ask me, you're like, hey, I'm getting the reloading. What should I do? And I've always said this: buy the best that you can get. And I even tell guys, if you can afford it, look into induction annealing. Actually, I don't know the guys well from AMP, but I talked to them quite a bit at SHOT Show. I've done numerous videos at their booth. I even suggest guys, like if you want, if you're serious about this, you're getting the PRS shooting, F-class shooting, benchless rifle shooting. I'm a big fan of the AMP annealer. I think it's tested and true. Matter of fact, they even have an automation to get theirs automated. But right out of the gates, just for the AMP annealer, what you're talking maybe $1,600. Once you get the pilots, you're with tax and shipping all that. I'm sure you're pushing what, 1,800, maybe even 2,000, depending on how many pilots you need. And then if you put the automation on it, you're well over, $2,000. And the fact that our annealer sells right out of the gate at $240, you can, if you already have the Dillon feeder, add, as a combo for less than 300, especially if you have the Dillon feeder. And then obviously the Dillon feeder with one plate is $400, and especially these guys that are doing bulk reloading. And I run into these guys all the time, and they're loving this. They could throw 600, 700 pieces of 2, 3, or 5, 5, 6 Lake City brats in there and just let her go to town. And like you said, I'm trying not to be biased, but it's really nothing out there like it. So.
Well, I will say, I think that the odds of anybody having an extra case feeder sitting around are pretty slim. And most people are not going to want to take it off of their, progressive reloader. But that's not the end of the world, because, hey, you can buy them all day long.
Right. And they're actually, I guess it depends in your world if you find a $400 Dillon XL case feeder affordable or not,
Yeah.
And you don't need it. Like I said, and I've said this from the get-go, especially for guys that reload 50, even 100 pieces. On an average flame-based annealer per anneal, let's say it takes 5, maybe 6 seconds at most. 100 pieces of brass times 6 is what? 600 seconds? 600 seconds divided by 60. That's 10 minutes for 100 pieces. That's a drop in the bucket in the reloading world. And in my opinion, it's a flame-based annealer, regardless if it has a hopper or not. It's not like you can just, start the annealer and start the hopper and go mow the yard. You got a flame in your reloading room or wherever, and you still need to pay attention to it. Sure. And even with the case feeder, you still need to pay attention to it. Could get a jam, but it just makes it obviously more automated. Maybe while this is fading by itself, you could be doing a completely different reloading process and saving yourself that much time. And I've said this before, when it comes to the reloading process, it's all about saving time, but not being consistent. I always fall back to that word consistency when it comes to everything you do in reloading, whether it's resizing your headspace or trimming your brass or annealing your brass or dropping powder. It's all about the word consistency, and then if you can, save time to boot. So
absolutely, both time and consistency, because time, I mean, if you got to sit at the machine, that's time you could be spent doing something else. That's time from your life. So with automation, it's kind of nice that you can be doing something else while you're sitting next to that machine and doing a different operation while you're kind of babysitting it. Make sure everything's flowing smoothly. But I mean, I will say I'm a induction annealer kind of guy.
Mhm.
I use the amp. I do have their automation system. I haven't set it up yet. To be honest, it'll save me a little time when I do, but I just have to make a stand for the case feeder because they never made a stand and left it to the consumer to figure out um, how to make a stand that works with the Dillon case feeder and their equipment. That was one thing with amp that I will say that I found a little bit frustrating, that they didn't just offer a stand that is just a bolt together. You just put the case feeder on, wham bam, there it is. It's all set up, ready to go. No, I got to manufacture something to make it work.
Yeah, and I actually have a lot of guys that have an amp, and they actually have our annealer for doing bulk stuff. For like
Okay.
I know guys that are doing, I don't know, they're shooting 1,000 rounds on a weekend, but they're not going to be doing that through an amp.
And I'm sorry, I misspoke. I shouldn't say that I have to manufacture a stand. I have to fabricate my own
Yeah,
stand.
yeah,
And that I don't know. That's the one thing that I don't like about amp. I love the machine. I just hate that they don't have a stand to offer that works right out of the box with their machine. Slap the feeder on, you're good to go.
right.
So,
And when it comes to the reloading world, everyone's got an opinion. I've yet to meet a reloader that doesn't think everything they do is the correct way. And it's all about finding your own journey and your own adventure, and what you find comfortable works for you. And it just depends on if you're a PRS shooter, F-class shooter, if you're just a weekend warrior.
right.
I've always said this though. I think you should anneal. Um, I not only is it beneficial for those that are not familiar with annealing, but you get more longevity out of the brass. You get more consistent headspace bumps. You get more consistent neck tension.
Yep.
I personally anneal every single time. I know some guys that do every other time. I've always said if you're not doing at least every other time, just don't anneal at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I'm an every time kind of guy. I'll preach that to anyone that is looking for precision out of their loads. But I also understand that not everybody can afford an induction system at the price tag of $2,000 plus, especially if you're going to automate it and you're going to be over $3,000
Right.
with an amp setup. So it's a huge difference, and it is by far better to flame anneal than to not anneal. Just because you want to, let's say you want an induction, you want the best, but you can't afford it. You're better off having a flame system than not doing it because you can't afford the system that you want.
It's amazing you said that. Is I actually, when I went to SHOT Show, I talked to the amp guys. And this is when their amp press first came out, and we got on the subject of flame-based annealing because obviously they know I'm from EP Integrations, and we got on the topic of consistency. And I've always said this: in order to be consistent with annealing, in my opinion, you got to anneal every time. So I just do it every single time. I got on the topic with the amp guys, and he actually told me, he's like, we have tests that you can get very consistent, similar results as the amp if you're flame-based annealing correctly. I have the video, but I asked them, I'm like, you find if I put this on my YouTube channel? They're like, we prefer you not to. And so I don't. But that is a true conversation. I have the video, and I man of my word, I didn't put them on my YouTube channel. But once again, I do direct guys. I'm like, if you're going to buy reloading equipment, buy the best that you can afford. Do not buy a kit. I had numerous videos on my other YouTube channel, Ultras Rifles Reloading, other than EP Integrations, and I have why you should not buy a kit, and part out the best that you can get, whether it's a coax press or or getting a Henderson Precision trimmer, garage trimmer, or I got a super trickler that I can drop literally a spec of H4350, and I'm not exaggerating, 8 seconds. Once again, it's all about saving time. But I don't know, like I said though, especially if you are reloading Lake City brass. I don't know if you've ever got Lake City brass 5.56, especially 7.62 by 51 from the military. It's been shot out of like a military grade M60. The headspace on that stuff in comparison to like a 308 or 7.62 rifle right off the shelf. The headspace is, I'm not exaggerating, almost 10 thousandths of an inch over. I don't know if you ever tried to resize 7.62 by 51 Lake City brass that's been fire formed out of a machine gun, and then you try to resize it to the fire form headspace out of your rifle by using bump gauges to prove that you're bumping that headspace back properly. You can't do that without annealing. You can't. And I've tried it, trust me. But if for guys that are not familiar with annealing, when that powder ignites, that brass expands violently, it seals off in that rifle's chamber, and it gets case hardened. And it gets ejected, you pull it out and you resize it, and you resize it back down. And that once again case hardens it. And every time you do that, it gets worse and worse and worse, and the spring back gets worse and worse. And in order to get that consistent headspace bump, you really need to anneal. Especially if you're trying to resize Lake City brass that's from the military, 10 thousandths of an inch over what you're trying to bump the headspace back to. Without annealing, I'm not exaggerating. You're gonna lube the crap out of that with Imperial case wax. You're gonna have to run it through the die probably 2-3 times. But the second you anneal it and you properly lube that brass one time, it will bump it right down. I've done it 1,000 times. I check every single piece with a bump gauge to prove it. Like I said, if you're not annealing, you should be annealing. It's literally a drop in the reloading process.
Absolutely.
I don't think you're going to get an argument from anybody here on that.
No.
Nope.
I mean, I guarantee you there are guys out there, and you know what? I guarantee you there's world-class shooters out there that'll argue with you on it, but you won't get that argument here.
No.
You know, and like I said, everyone's got an opinion. And actually, I know some world record guys that don't anneal at all, and some do and some don't. It's just, you know, everyone's got their own method, their madness, and it's a journey that they've learned over many years.
So I'd like to shed a little light on that for some of the viewers.
Depends on your brass budget.
So a world-class shooter that does not anneal, the reason is that his chamber is cut so tight that the brass doesn't really get a chance to expand much past its elasticity. It's what's the word? I don't know, rated deformation.
Yeah.
You know, if the brass doesn't expand beyond, it has a yield point. And once it gets past the yield point, it doesn't spring back to its original size.
Because he has his own custom chamber.
Right. And
Yeah.
so there are some world-class shooters that, you know, with custom reamers and stuff, that they can get by with not annealing because it's such a close fit to the chamber that the brass never really expands. It does in length. I mean, they always do. It is what it is, just how it works. But
Gotta go somewhere.
Well, a good example of that that anybody can find is Gavin from Gavin Gear. He did, I believe he took like, it was a 308 originally, and he basically pushed it up past like 300 Win Mag power.
Yeah, that was
right?
the
that was a custom chamber.
That was the alpha test that they did.
Yeah, they did a couple of different chamberings. I think they did one with a 6mm one too. But basically, they took something that, you know, pressure wise, without a true custom chamber, you know, you would just destroy that brass. But because the way the chamber was so tight, the brass just really didn't. It was supported, right? So you weren't pushing that brass, you weren't expanding that brass like you would normally. But that was, I mean, they worked specifically with Peterson brass to build a chamber that essentially was match perfect to what they were doing, right? So the brass was basically just holding the powder and the bullet, and the chamber was literally supporting all of that expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Which you don't get with any other without doing that, right? I mean, And it's an impractical, for the most part, it's an impractical option for almost every use, right? There's a handful of guys, they're going to hand feed, they're going to, stuff like that, where you can get that tight of a chamber where you're
bench rest. That's about it, because they get to clean between relays, and so they can keep a super clean chamber.
But I have guys that are like, hey man, can you reload some ammunition for me? And I'm like, I usually don't, unless they're like friends and really good, really good friends or family. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But what I want you to do is take your rifle, go get some factory ammo, shoot about 2-3 pieces, eject it, bring it back to me so I can measure your headspace. And then I'm going to bump your headspace back roughly 2/1000ths of an inch for a bolt action, and maybe 3 to 4 thousandths if it's an AR. And these guys that are not using bump gauges and they truly don't know how to measure their headspace by either using bump gauges or putting it into the chamber and filling the resistance through the bolt handle. If you have the luxury with a bolt action, not an AR. And I always ask guys, I'm like, well, what's your fire form brass? And they don't know. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? I bet you're just taking your die and, spinning it down till it touches the shell plate and give it a quarter turn. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you might damn well have 0.010 of an inch of headspace and you don't even know it. And every time you knock that brass down because you're not correctly measuring your headspace and you're just giving that die a turn all the way down to the shell plate and give it a quarter turn, and you're not using bump gauges to truly know what your headspace is, you're knocking the headspace down 0.010 of an inch, and then you're violently expanding it when that gunpowder goes off and expands back 0.010 of an inch. And then you don't know any better, so you screw it back down and you knock it back down 0.010 of an inch. And every time you do that, when it goes through that resizing die, that brass it gets shrunk down, headspace gets knocked back. That brass needs to flow somewhere. It can't just disappear. So then it expands in length, and then you trim it off, and then the walls of your brass start to thin out, and that's where you start getting case head separation. Mm-hmm. So, and if you really want to get a consistent head space for whatever XYZ rifle you're reloading for, not only should you be using bump gauges, but you should anneal. And the second I started annealing, and I double checked every single piece with a bump gauge from fire formed to the actual resize process, I noticed I was getting less spring back, and my headspace variations went from, I'm not exaggerating, 1/1000ths to 5/1000ths, 1/1000ths to 3/1000ths, 1/1000ths to whatever. And then the second I started annealing, 1/1000ths, 0.5 consistency for everything that went through that resizing die. So, I'm not just trying to sell annealers here and push annealing. It's just, that's, in my opinion, you should be doing that process if you're not annealing in your reloading world. So, little bit of a rant there.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I'll step out for just a second here, guys.
I guess while I've still got some time here,
yeah.
For those that are not familiar, we also sell the EP Integrations lockdown block. It's a fully adjustable reloading tray. It's a 3-part reloading tray, and this is fully adjustable from 300 blackout to 375 Chi-Tac. So, and how this works is, and we sell these on our website. This is a custom one. We don't sell this one. Ours is just aluminum on the website. But This middle plate here will adjust back and forward. And this is literally called the lockdown block. And this will adjust from 300 blackout to 375 Chi-Tac. Once again, toolless. That's our motto. It will adjust in literally a second. And then there's these 2 stainless steel screws here. So you can tighten this down. So if you want, I can kind of show this to you here. those guys that haven't seen this before, and everything we sell is made in Wisconsin. I know a lot of these nailers are made in China or not made in United States, but other than electronics, we do have to get those from China. It's kind of hard to not do that, but the cases are made in Wisconsin. All the milled products are made in Wisconsin. Drums are made in Washington State. Everything's made in pretty much Eau Claire, Wisconsin. But here's our lockdown block. Like I said, this is fully adjustable. I try my best to do this. Oh, seeing my own screen.
I had my eyes on those lockdown blocks of yours for, I don't know, it's probably been 2 years that I say, oh, I want to get one, but then, I just never do.
So this is 308 in here. So you can see that this middle plate, and that's why we call it the lockdown block. So it literally locks down on it. And so say like I'm ready to drop my powder, so I can literally turn these knobs. This is literally locked down. I can drop my powder, and then when I'm ready to see bullets, you can just feather this off ever so slightly. Easy to add and remove your casings. And then,
and that's exactly, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was kind of the whole reason, something that I want to bring up. The whole reason of why I've kind of wanted one of those blocks for a while and just haven't bought one yet, but I've had other things going on. But anyways, but with the block, the way that it locks down the casing, when you put the powder funnel on there, the casing doesn't tip or lean one way or the other when it's locked down. And that's one thing that I really like, that I find really annoying about most loading blocks, is that the case, the funnel or the case, it always wants to, kind of lean one way.
Right. And it is locked down there. Matter of fact, our casings this doesn't have rubber feet on it. We actually should have rubber feet. I just haven't put them on yet, but this is our black Cerakoted and it has rubber feet. And man, I tell you, the weight of the aluminum and the rubber feet just locks it right down to the.
Yeah, I do really like it. That's a really nice loading block that you have. Compliments to you on that.
Yeah, and we got awarded the patent on this last year. And just to show you that was 308. Here's 223. Doesn't matter where I put it. And I just switched over from 308 to 223. This will go down to 300 blackout to 375 shy tack. And then for those, we got a bunch of guys in the ELR world that want to go up to 50 BMG. Let me grab a couple pieces of 50 BMG here. Oh, so this here will go clear up to 50 BMG. So I can lock it down to 50 BMG. And guys in the ELR world, they're doing the shy tacks. They absolutely love this. And then just from 50 BMG, try my best to do this with the camera in front of me. Grab a couple pieces of 223. I just went from 223 to 556 in a second. So, it's really awesome. And guys in the ELR world absolutely love this. This is called our big bore block. And then this is the lockdown block. So. And then those are milled in Durand, Wisconsin too. I'll run out of vent space here. And those we just sell in aluminum, and we sell those on our website for $99.99. And they are kind of pricey, I'll admit, but they are billet machined aluminum with stainless steel knobs. It's not exactly cheap to make, and once again, made in the USA. So.
Very nice.
But we do sell, we are Vortex dealer. We are Starline brass dealer. Matter of fact, I'll flip you guys out of here. I'll show you a little something. So here's I don't know if you guys can make this out or not, but we stock Starline brass, 338 Super Comp, 38 Special, 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 10mm, 45 ACP, 44 Mag, 357, small rifle primer, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 Grendel, 6 Creed, 6 Arc, 5.56, 223, 300 Ace Blackout, 45 Long Colt that needs to be flipped over. 7.62 by 39, 243, 308, 6.5 large rifle primer. But we got everything in stock. We're also a Redding dealer. So we got Imperial case wax. We got our fronts here. Got some annealers prepped up, ready to rock and roll. Even got bulk Starline brass. I don't know if you guys, is this coming out okay? You guys see this? Okay. Got a lot of our parts here for our annealer. Just waiting to be assembled, and yeah, all part of the fun. We actually have a bunch of these case feeder kits ready to rock and roll. We got more coming. Yeah, and my my business partner, he is my neighbor, and we bought a 3D printer, and we're buying more eventually. We're 3D printing these parts nonstop. The shuttle, the bracket. It's round the clock. We're spitting out these parts to keep up with demand here. So
awesome.
Yeah, so far so good.
All right. So yeah, it was I was just scrolling down the website, and it looks like 392 was the first time we had you on.
Yeah,
and then
time goes by too quick.
Right. So, but yeah, definitely, it's awesome. All the stuff that you've got now, and you've got scope ring, or you've got a bubble with a turret magnifier, and you've got a scope leveling kit on there too. I see.
Yeah, we got a scope leveling kit, bubble magnifier for guys like me that can't see the turret so well anymore.
Yeah.
We do sell some reloading, like Imperial case wax, Hornady spray lube. We do sell eye gauging calipers. I think we're currently out, but we're supposed to be getting some in here soon. You know, and we're literally just doing this right out of our house. You know, and we both have full-time jobs, and we're doing this kind of on the side. Hopefully it gets to the point where we can just quit our jobs. But that's where we need you guys to buy more EP integrations and healers. So we're trying our best. So
indeed. And JT had asked, JT Swinghammer had asked how much they cost. I don't know if you mentioned that, but the smaller of the two, the 50 BMG block is $74.99, and then the other block is actually $99.99.
Yeah. Yeah, and we sell a lot of those. Especially, you know, for these ELR guys, you know, shooting those shy attacks, you know, they want something that can adjust clear up to those shy attacks, but then, hey, I want to jump back down and do some of my standard reloads down to 223. So, and the fact that you can just get one lockdown block to cover all your casings. Like I said, it does cost more. It's $99.99. But rather than having 5 different blocks that cost you 20, you can just have the one. And not to be biased, but once you use it, it really is the Cadillac of reloading trays and blocks. So.
Indeed.
I'm checking my audio. Is it working better?
Yeah. That is better. Now we have two Kens. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. If you got any other questions, I might be able to stay on here for about another 15 minutes. I gotta go pick up my wife here about 8:30ish. So
yeah. Well, I guess we'll give the listeners a couple seconds to see if they got any more questions. Otherwise, we'll or if you got anything else you want to talk about, you can. Otherwise, we'll let you go. So
yeah, like I said, I'm hoping to have those the new case feeder kits with the Gen 2 rears for the guys that got the initial annealers here probably the next couple weeks, I'm guessing. I'm actually, this is the first time going live with this information. I'm actually going to do a video on EP integrations and also Elster's rifles and reloading here probably the next week or so, and have that live on the website here soon. But you know, everything in the retail world, there's a lot of testing, obviously,
Right.
to make sure it works properly. You just don't want to throw it out there and hopefully it works. But I literally tested this case feeder kit. I can't tell you how many thousands of pieces. Matter of fact, during the last Eau Claire gun show, we had that feeder kit going for 2 days straight. Pretty much 8 hours the first day, I think 5 or 6 the other. It was going straight nonstop. We figured well over 10,000 feeds to that thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I do have a question. Well, I'm getting feedback. Anybody else getting that?
Because you're coming through both.
But because one's muted.
It wasn't. So it was still feeding it through. So
Okay.
I just took it down. So now it's just your picture. But we can hear you.
Okay. I'm still getting a feedback, but
Well, that's because you have to back out of the one. Or I can kick you.
oh, okay.
But
So what I'm asking is, with the case feeders, are you planning on adding other additional case feeders in future?
maybe not right now. Right now, I actually posted this on my Facebook page and I kind of took a survey, and by far the Dylan kind of destroyed all the other ones. I think if you were to obviously pick one feeder that most likely people are going to have, it's going to be this one. So that's kind of why that's the route we went. I'm not saying we won't open this up to other case feeders, but you know, obviously this is, you know, snaps in and out of the spring of the Dylan XL case feeder, and it's specifically designed for that. To get to this point of, you know, figuring out the sensor and the relay switch and getting, and I seen someone had a question. They said, "What parts did you say were 3D printed?" The shuttle is 3D printed. I can actually take this apart here. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a. I can get this screw out. These are 2 parts actually. So this is what it's adjustability from 300 blackout to 338 Lapa. So that's completely 3D printed. And the bracket that holds the relay switch and the optical sensor, that is also 3D printed. The upright tube, which is a 1x1 upright tube, that was originally aluminum. But we figured out a way to 3D print that, which is actually amazingly strong. It's unreal how strong it is. That is also 3D printed. And that's literally done at my neighbor's house here in Wisconsin. So we're, like I said, we're printing them around the clock. We print shuttle, we print the bracket. We're even printing this drill jig. So here's a drill jig. So if you have the original annealer, I can't stress this enough. The holes in that you need to drill for that case, to hold that upright tube, it's absolutely crucial that those holes are specifically placed. They can't just be drilling holes willy-nilly, because obviously that would adjust the location of the shuttle feeding the kneeler. So, yeah, I'm not saying we won't open this up to other feeders, but I wouldn't hold your breath, put it that way. So it's a lot of time. I mean, we literally have to buy that feeder. Probably have to figure out a completely different shuttle system. The brackets and the sensor and the relay switch wouldn't change, but the shuttle definitely would have to figure out a completely different shuttle, because the reason why we like this, because it can just snap in and out, and you just literally snap it into the spring. If I can kind of get a better view of this here, so you can see. Can you guys make this out?
Yeah.
You can see here, there's a tension spring here. For those aren't familiar with the Dillon XL case feeder. And there's a little bit of a ring here, and there's a little gap up here. It's about 1/8 of an inch gap. And this literally just snaps into place. And then this spins, and then this adjusts up and down. And that's how you can adjust literally within half of a minute from 300 blackout to 338 LAPA. So, and and just to show you, I'm trying my best to do this with one hand. Let me click you in without changing this all over, because I only have so much time left here, but just to show you that this shuttle here is 338 LAPA. If you guys can make this out, it will feed that. So, so yeah, and that's, it's you try to make as much of your customers as happy as possible and fulfill their needs. But it gets to the point where you have to start making sacrifices. And that's initially one of them when we started out. Obviously we didn't design this initially for the Gen 1 cases for those that started out with the EP20 nailer, but we did feel bad about it, and we came up with a quick solution. That's just to sell the rear as a separate case add-on. So
yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, we lost Justin. Alrighty, so that's epintegrations.com. I'll put that in the note, or in the it'll be in the chat. It'll also be in the show notes, so we'll have links for all this.
Yeah, and I appreciate your time. I really do. You can check out our website, www.epintegrations.com. We do have a YouTube channel. YouTube is definitely not making it easy for us, Second Amendment loving community. I really felt that a lot in Officers Rifles and Reloading. I actually ended up starting a whole new YouTube channel. It's just under my name. It's everything in my life other than reloading and shooting guns. So it's like on camping and electronics and solar stuff. It's under my name, Todd Alfers. If you want to check that out too. So I'm doing a lot of solar, like Blue Eddy power stations, camping, traveling, going to all-inclusive resorts. I've been doing reviews of those. Yep, and I still jump on Officers Rifles and Reloading quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but as much as I can with my full-time job, EP Integrations, and keeping my wife happy. So anyway.
And that's always a full-time job right there, keeping the wife.
Yeah, right. Jeez Louise. I might need an assistant.
You know how that goes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you ever get a Dillon case feeder, my friend, let me know. So
you betcha.
But yeah, if you guys got questions, otherwise I'm probably gonna have to jump off here. I got
let's get going here. So
yeah. All right, my friends. Well, once again, thank you for having EP Integrations on. If you got any questions, jump on our website. There's an email form on there.
Yeah.
Just submit the email and we'll try our best to answer your questions as soon as we can.
You betcha. Yeah. Congrats on the case feeder, and yeah, definitely. A step ahead as far as flame annealers go. You're the only person out there with it. So, and you heard Justin talking about his amp annealer, where it's not even ready to go with their kit they sell, and their kit's not cheap. So,
yeah.
But,
and that's our motto. That's really our motto, is to keep it American made. Other than electronics, that's hard to do.
Right.
Have it keyless, adjustable in seconds, and keep it affordable for you guys. So, but yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, we'll let you go.
Well, you guys take it easy, and maybe I'll jump on here another year.
Sounds good.
All right.
All
You
right,
guys take it easy. Yeah.
Take care, Todd. Bye. Order. I don't know if he saw that one or not. I'll make sure he finds out about it though. So, all right. So now we have an important thing to do. Share screen. So a little while back, we had Brian from Hunter's HD Gold on, and he said he would give one of our listeners a set of Hunter's HD Gold glasses for free. And so I put out the call for email if you weren't in the States or Canada, or send us a text. And I went through and double checked and triple checked. And I have all of the people that sent me an entry on that lovely wheel that you're seeing. So now let's see who wins. Clifford Zach, you won yourself a pair of Hunter's HD Gold. Clifford, you can text me or email me, either way. Or actually, I'll text you back and tell you what I need to get that process rolling. So. Congratulations, Clifford. So, dang it, wrong screen. So, what's everybody been up to? Especially you, lady.
You might want to have me go last.
No, you go first.
It's getting adjusted to work.
Yep.
Hunting season's over. Now it's over. Mentoring at Wilderness. I sacrificed my own personal turkey hunt, which I have yet to harvest a turkey. I do call them in. I do see them. I just have yet to harvest one. And I sat and mentored two ladies. It ended up being a good time. We got lots of crows answering, lots of geese answering, and lots of turtle porn. It's mating season. There were turtles everywhere.
Yeah.
Love shacking. Yeah. So now the next phase in Wilderness is it's summertime. So we have camping coming up. Somehow I let those hussies talk me into going on to my first float trip. So I won't be mentoring anything. I will actually be a participant.
Consuming alcohol? Because that's what you do on a float trip.
I don't think I'll be doing that with a boat and water.
That's
But
not a
it's
float trip. A
It's
And
not
float trip
float,
involves inner
look,
tubes and a cooler of beer. That's a float trip.
somebody, I have a
Y'all
cooler
going on a
of
boating trip.
cola. They'll have their beverages, and I'll have cola. I'll be the sober buddy.
You ain't true Midwesterner then, Shrenda.
I'm probably only going to be the only pigment person on this trip. So this is outside of my comfort zone. So I'm like, well, I guess it's my turn now. I think it'll be fun. But I am taking a 10-person tent for just 2 people.
Well, you gotta have your space,
Princess Palace all the way.
That's right.
Sharonda, you are kind of you stand out amongst the hunting and shooting crowds quite well.
Quite regularly. You could not miss me in a crowd or the woods. I'm working on
And
it.
just to be clear, we need
more and more.
more of you.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what the where the disconnect is. Although when the plague happened years ago, everybody was on board. The minute the grocery stores got full, everybody got lazy. So my motto is with or without you.
Yep. Nobody starts singing that song, damn it.
Look, yeah, if you
I didn't
if
even
it's
think of the song until you said it, Mike.
Yeah, same.
yeah, I've been telling people for the last 6 years, if you've been saying that you want to go out and you want to go hunt, you're full of BS.
So,
But that's about it. Just
yep.
wrapping up stuff and trying to skill build myself. So that's where we're at now.
Nice. Nick, what you been up to?
Not a lot. I had a family wedding last weekend over in St. Louis. That's about it, really.
Fun.
Hopefully going shooting this weekend. Well, it's supposed to be pretty nice.
Ken?
Well, Paul and I went to a match on Saturday. Had a good time.
Awesome.
Didn't completely crap the bed, so we'll take that. Started real well, and then kind of fell apart, and then got it back together. So it's a good one. I've been working on the business still. Trying to get that up and running, take steps. Today I was trying to get everything set up to work with a new device for live streaming and whatnot, and apparently the audio didn't come through quite well, right? So I'll troubleshoot that. And I literally got the device at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. So we've been,
yeah.
And then of course I had to run to Menards real quick ahead of time and then come back. So, but what I will be working on will be the business and focusing on practice for Worlds. So try to get us World Speed Shoots coming up at the end of the month. So need to get as much time practice in and dry fire and all that stuff. And go to try to win a medal. Yeah, Cheryl does not react well to when the dog barks like that. And she's not expecting it. If she knows it's coming, she doesn't react, but it startles her every time.
I'm just laughing because it's not my dog's barking in the sound for once.
Well, the funny thing is we got him, and when we first met him at the shelter,
yeah,
he didn't bark and he was timid. And I'd say we went 2.5 days, and he didn't bark once. And she was just real happy about that, and she probably either thought it at the moment or mentioned something about him not barking. And well, that went out the window. That was it. So, and now the right noise, or more specifically, people walking. He'd probably be resting now, but he didn't get to go for his evening walk like he has the last several nights because I was rushing to do stuff and had to hop on here, and so he's feeling a little neglected. So we'll take him out and spend some time with him now that we're off.
There you go. So I've been working in the reloading room, and you can't really see, but the pile behind me has gotten bigger because the closet got emptier. So I found an owl call I didn't know I had. I found a TRICARE gun cloth unopened, and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I'm working on that. So I had to kind of get the stuff out of the closets that was buried in there, so I can actually put the stuff in the closet that I want in the closet. Took the doors off. I'm gonna have some totes in there instead of all over. I've got slowly but surely organizing. So that's kind of what I did.
Moving piles around.
No, not just moving piles around. I've actually filled this garbage can twice and took it out and dumped it twice. So I've been throwing shit away too, which is good. So no, Sharonda, it's not anything worthwhile. If it was giveawayable, I would have given it away.
If it was, I'd still be waiting on it a year later.
Yep.
Mike is horrible at mailing stuff.
Yes, I am. Well, part of it is horrible, part of it is timing, part of it is funds. So
well, I knew when I mailed you that. I told you there was no time constraints, but I'm still going to give you shit about it.
Right. But it's actually going to go out Thursday. So.
Oh.
Patriot Patch Company, Patch of the Month. It is May, so it is always Memorial Day weekend related. You got your sticker, you got your patch, and honoring their legacy. So you've got your World War II tank, your World War II sub, and your World War II plane. Although that could be a Sky Raider from Vietnam, but I'm going to go with more.
No, that's a Mustang.
I know.
I mean, it taking some license, but it's a Mustang.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, if you were drunk and squinting, you could think it was a Sky Raider because of the wingtips. So.
I need to think of something cool to display my cards. Like I have one of those things you hang on the wall where you can put all your patches.
Yeah.
But the cards are pretty cool, and I just haven't figured out how to display them without them potentially getting messed up.
The only thing you could do is picture frame them. Pack them tight.
I don't have enough space on my walls with all the skulls that I have on them for picture frames.
Shit. Put them on the skulls.
I'll figure it out.
You could have this. You got the skulls mounted. You could just set them right on top of the skull.
Like they're like loser.
There you go. So, May Patch of the Month. If you want to be a Patch of the Month Club member, you can sign up through our website, firearmsradio.net/category/podcast/reloading-2. Click on the support button. It's red. Otherwise, if you want to get a sweet shirt like this, or an awesome tumbler, or a can koozie, or some other merch, you can click on the black merch button, and that'll take you over to Southern Gals Crafts, where you can buy sweet stuff there. So, but
both Rabbit Hole Precision and Retmark Firearms shirts.
Oh, there you go. I wasn't sure if you had yours yet or not, so.
I don't have the shirt yet, but they have them. They have permission to sell them. So even if they don't have them listed, if you want to, they can do one up for you.
Awesome. Yeah, so swing over to Southern Gals Craft. She's also got Matter of Facts podcast stuff on there too. Former part-time host Phil Rabelais full-time podcast. So, but yeah, so they've got lots of cool stuff over there. Nice thing is the back of this one says the anatomy of Pew. We've still got the making fun of the ATF ones up there. Because ATF just needs to go away. But
Hey,
theoretically it's getting better.
With the ruling late last week, a lot of the rules that they announced.
Yeah. Some of them are in effect already, like the bump stock.
Yep.
Some of them are open for comment, so you got to wait your 30 days for comments. And then they go through the rest of the process. So, but yeah, the nice thing is the bump stock ban is dead, deceased.
Well, they're just aligning the rule to match the actual court rule, or basically they're matching the website.
They're matching the ruling from Cargill.
So they're just making sure that the language that's put out there is official. It's not that it's a new change or anything like that. It's just they're making the language match.
The one I wanted to go away is notifying or reaching out to have to cross state lines with NFA.
That one sounds like it's going to be a pretty good to go. So it's just got to go through the process. JT Schwinghammer wants to know, he's been looking at turret presses and debating on which one he wants to get.
What's his budget?
That's about to say, what's your budget?
Yeah, your depends on your budget. If you're poor, get the Lee 4-hole. Otherwise,
I would go from Lee as your budget. Step up from there where I go Lyman, RCBS, Reading, and then 0 is the order I would go in.
And honestly, I think depending on what you're reloading, you're fine with a turret press. Any one of them are going to do the job, right?
Right.
It's and if you're looking for that ultra precision, like reloading,
the Reading or the 0.
I would get the Reading and get the.
Personally, wouldn't recommend as a turret press for the ultra, because I think you can go with the short action customs or go with a single stage short action customs or Forrester coax somewhere along that lines. There's a couple others out there that I would recommend, but if you're going for kind of convenience, then yeah, turret press makes a lot of sense. And the Lyman, the Reading, even the RCBS are going to be real good. There's nothing really wrong with the Lee either. It's one of those that if I'm going to go ultra precision, I'm not going to go with the 0 because I'm going to go with a single stage over a turret. But there's nothing wrong with the 0. I'm not bashing it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. It's not a great press, what it is, but I don't think it offers that much more benefit at that super high level, especially for the price tag.
Yeah. The advantage of the Lyman is it's an 8 station, so you literally have 2 cartridges set up on one turret. That's the only advantage I would see for that. As far as overall, if somebody came to me and said, I want to get, we're not talking super precision, long range, Justin type shooting, or even Paul for that matter. We're just talking decent accuracy. I would probably go, honestly, I would probably get the Reading. Now, hi, Brenda.
Yeah, she put something on the Facebook group. She was jumping off. She got.
I didn't get a message. So, anyway, so the other option he put on there is he said, "Thanks. Looked at the Reading, the RCBS, and the 550." Now, the advantage of the 550 is if you go
Well, I'd say 550 over.
I honestly go
all day
550.
over.
Any of the turrets.
Well, but you got the new Creedmoor Sports turret heads out.
Right. I mean, Creedmoor Sports has got all the stuff for. Well, I mean, Creedmoor Sports has got stuff for the other two, but then what's the name of the company that Paul gets all his crap?
Armanov.
Yeah. Armanov
Yeah.
makes a bunch of stuff for the 550 to make it just extremely ridiculously accurate.
It looks like he's really doing plinking and hunting, so he doesn't need to go high precision.
Get the 550.
Get the 550. The thing is you can do the precision on the 550 because
You can probably
aftermarket parts that are available for that 550, or even a 650 if you wanted to go that way. But even the aftermarket parts that are available for that allow you to get to that point. You know, like if you can get the 550, get the 550.
So the only thing he said, most of it is rifle, and then he said 44 mag. So that may be the only catch. Is depending on what his largest cartridge is.
Yeah.
Because the 550 will only do up to 30-06.
Yep.
Well,
so if he's got 338s, anything, then no, it's not going to work. So, but yeah, I mean the T7 is fantastic. As far as I know, none of the turrets, other than like, I don't know. Can you load a 4570 on the? Gotta Google that.
Case.
I don't have a 4570, so I don't know.
Hang on, I got odd 6 case right here somewhere. Not 4570 somewhere. 4570. Where's the odd 6? You should. There's your case length. I would think you should. I would think you could work with it. My only figure is the rim with the diameter, but I would think you could do pistol, large space pistol on it. But
yes, you can load 4570 on a Dillon 550. So yes, get the 550. Final answer.
Like I'm looking at either the Lyman or one we didn't even talk about. I'm interested to check it out more. I saw it at SHOT 2 years ago. Is the new Frankfurt Arsenal turret press.
Mm-hmm.
The price point looks pretty good.
Yeah, I would honestly, given the what he's looking at, I'd get the 550.
What I'm looking at it for is for all my
adaptability,
oddball dies, like my case neck expander, my flaring dies, there's certain like specialty dies I want to have on a tool head that I can just leave on a tool head. And if I can get a nice turret press out of the deal to have it for like single stage loading, that's kind of what I'm looking for myself, though.
Well, that makes a lot of sense for you because you're doing tool head specific.
Yeah,
and that's the big thing. If you're looking for tool head specific, then really any of the turret presses with a good tool head.
Like most of my dies will be set up on my 4-hole turrets for like say 30-06, 8mm Mauser. They'll be all set up on these, but if I need like special flaring dies or powder through dies, I don't want to have to buy a powder through die for every single shell plate. I can just have them on that one turret that stays on the turret press, and I can go from over here on my Lee 4-hole turret to right here in front of me onto the turret press and do that next step of reloading. So just move 6 feet down the bench.
Yep. So, all right. Cinco de Mayo, I had tacos today. Well, I guess they're tacos. I had Taco Bell. So
hey, I had Taco John's. It's the same thing.
Taco John's is better than Taco Bell.
These were bad today.
Taco John's. Listen, Taco John's is overrated. All right, and I'm not saying that Taco Bell is great. I'm just saying Taco John's. Everybody, it's kind of listen. I'm all right. I'm going to piss Mike off right now and everybody in Wisconsin. Spotted Cow is an overrated beer, just like Taco John's. It's one of those things that the fans love it, and it makes no sense.
Potato Olays.
That's a mix of the best.
Overrated. listen, if you want to get decent hash browns, go to Dunkin' Donuts, get their loaded hash browns. They're better than the potato LA's ever dreamt of being.
I'm not from Boston. I don't go to Dunkin'.
I don't go to Dunkin'. I don't go to Dunkin' to buy donuts because you get
donuts
better
are shit. Their coffee shit.
Listen.
There, I said
I needed something to eat, and I stopped at an Oasis, and it was either McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts.
I'd have taken McDonald's. Sorry.
So I walked over to Dunkin' Donuts, checked their menu. They had their loaded what they call their loaded hash browns. They're the little round
hash browns. They're hash rounds.
Yeah, hash rounds, tater tots, whatever you want to call them, right? And it's got bacon and cheese sauce on it. On top of it.
So it's basically Baconator fries, but with hash rounds instead.
Yes. Okay. And they're better than potato Olays ever dreamt to be in.
Well, it's because you got bacon and cheese. If I put bacon and cheese on potato Olays, they'd be even better.
They'd still be better. The Dunkins would still be better.
I don't know. I guess I'll have to try them at some point in time. The wife likes avocado toast from some Dunkins, so that's the only reason I go there. Otherwise, if I want coffee, I go to Mocha.
If I still lived in Illinois, there's a taco place there back home in Springfield that is phenomenal. I would have gotten them for today, but
well, if I was in Southern California, I could have gone to El Pollo Loco, but not here.
Well,
not
this
here.
is a taco
we
place.
Actually got some pretty good taquerias in this area. So
I would have went and got dollar tacos right down the street from work, but we had
El Patron. El Patron downtown is really good.
El Patron's good. I had that one time over there.
But also the Mexican joint that is in the old Pizza Hut on Main Street's really good too. But anyway, yes, Tim Hortons for the win. Absolutely. Unfortunately, we don't have any here. So I can't go get myself some Timbits. Damn it. But anyway, Clifford, glad you had Casey's Pizza. Glad you liked it. It's good stuff.
Now, did he have regular pizza or do you have the breakfast pizza?
I don't know. He did not answer that question.
The regular pizza is good, but the breakfast pizza is a whole nother
phenomenal.
Level. It's a whole nother level.
It is. And Casey's Pizza is better than Quick Trip Pizza with a K.
Well, even the QT pizza, yeah, Casey's is
I've
still
never
better.
had QT pizza, so
it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll let it
the problem is so
Casey's further.
The problem is the pizza that Quick Trip with a K puts in the hot spot is different from their frozen pizzas they have in back. They actually have like 3 different levels of pizza. So they have the Don specials, which is like your cheap Jack's, blah, blah, blah. And then they've got the pothole pizza, which is like your upper shelf frozen pizza. And then they got the ones they put on the hot spot, which is a whole different setup. So, but the Meat Sweats pothole pizza, phenomenal. So it's like what Tombstone dreams of being.
I got hooked on recently from Aldi's talking pizza.
Oh yeah, those are amazing.
The thin crust, the big thin crust fresh one. Oh, that is amazing for like $7. I cook it and I have meals for 4 days for lunch.
Right. You know what else is fantastic? Costco pizza.
Yes. Well, I'll take Sam's Club is better with pizza than Costco pizza.
I've never had Sam's Pizza because we don't have a Sam's Club around here because they went out of business because Costco put them out of business down here.
Oh, we have both. And they're right across.
We had the 4 cheese, the bacon burger, and a Hawaiian. Okay, so we had lunch pizza.
Oh.
Not too bad. Their bacon burger's pretty good.
Yeah.
Their
taco pizza. The taco pizza.
Papa Murphy's taco pizza is amazing.
Yes.
I mean, you got to bake it, but still, just fantastic. So,
hey, if you come out for the race, Mike, we got a Casey's right up the street.
You know what else? Do you still have the CC's?
He's got a Casey's that's like just down the road from him.
I know, right? It's funny.
I mean, it's a little ways down, and it's past the Quick Trip, which I would go to as default. But
no, if Mike comes out
past the Quick Trip to go to the Casey's.
When Mike comes out to go to the races, we'll have to go to the local place called Old Shawnee Pizza, and they have something called the Big Pop or Papa John, and I think it's a 48-inch pizza. And if 2 people finish it, they get like $100 cash and I think T-shirts or something like that. You and I can knock that out, no problem.
Let's do it. So Costco with chicken?
What?
Trying to figure out.
Oh, he's talking the chicken bakes.
Oh, the chicken bakes. The chicken bakes are good.
Yeah,
If
they're
they're
cooked
fresh.
correct, exactly. If they've been
If
sitting,
they've
they're
been
terrible.
sitting for a while, they get really hard, crusty. You could use them to pound nails.
Yeah.
So, but
That's us Midwesterners. We love to eat. We love to experiment.
right. You know, it's funny. So, I was talking to somebody that was from Texas. They moved up here, and they went to Woodman's, and they went to the frozen pizza section in Woodman's. So, in Woodman's, which is a local grocery chain, their frozen pizza section. All right, I'm almost done. So their frozen pizza section is literally 80 feet long. 40 of that is bunkers. 40 of that is multi-shelf frozen glass display cases.
That's pretty good.
We like our frozen pizza up here.
Well, yeah. It's called
The
winter
nice
time.
thing about Woodman's, though, is over half, at least one of a large portion of that is dedicated to actually local brands.
Right. Uncle
Oh.
Emil's. Oh, that stuff's, man. That's just their pulled pork from Uncle Emil's is just.
That's just how you can tell we're Midwesterners, because we're used to having like things in the freezer, like frozen pizzas, for like those winter days where we don't want to go anywhere. We just put something in the oven. Okay, dinner will be ready in 20 minutes.
Yep. So, by the way, if you don't have a pizzazz, get a pizzazz. They're amazing for cooking pizza. Just fantastic. The only drawback is they only cook like your, their little 12 inchers.
Yeah.
So, but
or just get an oven that has a little bit of a air fryer mode turned into it.
Yeah.
That's my new one's going to be that way. So you can like cook it like 3/4 way done and then throw that air fryer mode on.
Crisp it right up, baby.
Yep.
So I got a Emerald Lagasse air fryer, a air fryer toaster, blah, 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 blender, flux capacitor thing. And so I can cook 12 inches in there and it's nice. But anyway, all right, that's enough of that. So if you're looking for camouflage because you're trying to eat your pizza in peace and you don't want anybody to see you, swing over to camerado.com. Take a look.
As owner, thanks for a week. I don't go out and eat chicken wings. I smoke my own chicken wings because they are probably the best ever. And I've been told that by my own dad, who's traveled and ate chicken wings across this country.
I'm lazy. I just go to B-Dubs.
If I'm lazy and don't want to cook, yeah.
If we order it, Chili's used to have a ghost restaurant, and if you have a Chili's, they probably still do. But they used to have a ghost restaurant that did wings, but the Chili's over here closed. So now, I'm trying to remember who we get wings through. Wingstop. That's pretty good. But so there is no reheating pizza. We're cooking frozen pizza. It wasn't heated to begin with, dang it. So anyway. No. So yeah, it was great having Todd on, showing off the case feeder. As I'm sitting here and looking at it, I turned around and I looked at this, and I'm almost thinking I might be able to adapt it.
That's what I'm thinking. Can you just adapt them? Most of us have 3D printers.
Because
most of us are rednecks.
It uses the same mounting system, but the problem is the hopper setup is different. So, but the biggest thing is the plug is the same for the power. So I'm thinking everything will work. I just got to get the brass over. So I don't know. I'm going to talk to him and see if there's something I can figure out. But Anyway, so yeah, that's epintegrations.com. They got that awesome reloading tray too. So I'll have that in the show notes.
I love my tray. I gotta send this to Chris, have him Cerakote it.
Yeah. The EP lockdown reloading block. So by the way, both those are patent pending. Actually, no, they're not patented. They're patented completely, no pending. So so yeah. The big bore is $74.99 and the standard reloading block is $99.99. The big bore does 50 down to 223. The standard does 338 Lapua all the way down to, whatever small. Probably, I imagine you could probably put 22 long rifle in it if you wanted to, but who's reloading that stuff? Anyway, but yeah, I mean, they got a bunch of other stuff on there too. So he was talking about Starline Brass that they sell now, and he's got bulk discounts on that. Bullets from Burger Sierra. He's got some Horn Today stuff on there too. So, but also, like he said, he's got eye gauging, but they're out of stock on those right now. They're working on getting more. He's got Vortex optics stuff. So check it out. epintegrations.com. Lots of different options. So next week, there will not be a show. Sorry, I'm going over a game with Drew, one of our listeners. He's flying in from San Diego, and we're meeting at the ballpark. So, but that'll be that. 2 weeks. I'm not sure where 2 weeks. We've got Reese from Millsurp's Munitions coming on.
3 weeks. 26th.
Oh, 3 weeks.
Yep.
That's right. The 19th, you won't be here. So,
yep.
No show on the 12th. 19th, I don't know what we're going to talk about yet. And then the 26th is Millsurp Munitions. So that'll be the day after Memorial Day. So instead of not being here Memorial Day weekend,
actually, I won't be here. I might be out of town, so that we might push that another week.
Okay, so
I'll be traveling back that day.
All right, so yeah, we're not going to do a show Memorial Day week then. If he's not,
so that is the 26th. Well, I wouldn't be here anyways. Neither would Paul.
Yeah.
Because on Tuesday, we're in the car headed to, I suppose we could join, but we'd be joining from Talladega, Alabama.
Oh, sweet. Have fun. So. Odor, I would love to do that at some point in time. That would be a blast. So.
What was that Odor said? I missed it.
Said, love you guys. Sometimes I think how great it would be to be talking to you one-on-one, even though my American is not the best. And yes, American English is definitely different from English. Just think it would be great after all these years being here. So. Yeah, it'd definitely be fun. Odor, if you're on Discord, we can do a chat through Discord. So I think you said you can get Discord now. So, speaking of Discord, you want to join Discord, you got to send me an email. I got another email this week at reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. Usually I get notifications right away. And then I will get you the Discord link ASAP. So I used to have it posted somewhere, but unfortunately all it did is just leave the jackasses who were spammers. So now we go back to handing it out because, jackasses ruin it for everybody. Sorry. Smoke Steve's got a question. All right. So is it ever worth hand loading 5.56 or 9mm? Okay, so first off, there's a difference between hand loading and reloading. It's always worth it to hand load.
Mm-hmm.
Hand loading indicates that you are spending an effort to try and make the most precise ammunition as possible, the most consistent ammunition possible. Reloading, you're just throwing a new primer, new powder, new brass, or not new brass, but new bullet in old brass and slamming it together and away you go. If you have the equipment already, yes, it's worth reloading. If you don't have a press and you're going to start from scratch and 9mm or 5.56 is all you're going to reload, no. Go to ammoseek.com, find the best price on the 1,000 round bulk packs and buy that. If it's just target ammo. If you're just plinking ammo, no.
It's like I don't even reload 9 because it's still at one time it was available and affordable. Still somewhat affordable. That's kind of
I load
dried
9
up
with
recently.
30s. So
but 5.56, I shoot a lot of my own loads for like my Mark 262, my precision loads for shooting like my Mark 12s, stuff like that. That's really the main extent. And I have my other match loads for my CMP match rifles, stuff like that. But other than that, I'm just loading 55 grain FMJ standard load with H335 because at one time it was cheaper.
Yeah.
But
so in 9mm, if you're going to shoot the cheapest crap you can buy, it is not worth reloading.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If you're going to shoot anything that is middle of the pack to top end, so like a lot of your competition ammo, right now I'm reloading it at about 15 cents a round for 9mm in competition. Most of the ammo that I'm looking at for competition, if I want competition loads, start at about 30 cents. So twice as much. So yes, it makes sense. And also my practice ammo, I'm using aluminum cases that I paid 5 cents a pop for that also had primers in it. So, it makes it so now I'm reloading for, right around 10 cents. It's actually less than that because I tend to get my bullets.
You got that ammo. You got that aluminum case for a song and for a song.
Oh,
and
you can get them. You can get them cheap. That's not the hard part. I mean, you just have to, get them in stock. That's the hard part is get them in stock. Basically, you get the case and the primer for the cost of the primer, right? And I tend to have a couple of different rewards programs that I have that allow me to buy my bullets using the rewards points. So realistically, I'm reloading with the aluminum ammo, my practice stuff at 10 cents. So even then, I'm cheaper than the white box stuff.
Right.
But granted, I'm also loading on a press that is considerably more expensive than your average press. So
yeah. So if you
really
figured that
money.
into it,
yeah, you factor that into it. I'm not really saving any money in the long run, but I'm saving time. So if you say, well, the cost of that press is worth my time, then yes, because I can load 1,000 rounds in an hour pretty easily, not bat an eyelash, right? And all I'm really doing is sitting there watching the press and clearing the occasional issue that might pop up, right? So if you take that as the big factor, then essentially it takes a lot of the because a lot of reloaders and hand loaders don't budget for their time. And if you're talking cost, if you're actually trying to talk and actually figure out what it costs, because you could be doing something else, right? So you do need to be aware, cognitive of that, anyways.
I'll be right back.
Well, it's like I have all the equipment. I have probably, I'm looking over on the shelf. I probably have 5,000 to 10,000 pieces of 9mm brass. I probably have about 4,000 or 5,000 pieces or bullets for 9mm. I have the dies have small pistol primers. I have all the stuff. I don't need to load it because I'm saving that for those situations. What happened with COVID where you couldn't get the ammo. That's really what I save that for.
Yep. So, I mean, I'm shooting on average, like in a slow month of 9mm, I'm shooting 750 rounds.
Yeah.
Right. On like this month, I'm going to top out at easily probably 3,000 to 4,000.
Yeah. I probably in the last 6 months have maybe shot 400 rounds of 9.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So
it's for me, it's just I'll go buy a box. If I shoot 50 rounds, I'll just go buy a box, replace it. That's where right now, that's for me. But
and that's the big one, right? It is very much a I'm a high volume shooter.
mm-hmm.
So
and I probably have, oh gosh, I used to buy it when I worked at the gun shop. I was buying 50 round boxes of 9mm for like $3.50 a box back before COVID. So I was buying cases of it at a time and stacking it away for. So I can't tell you last time I counted how much 9 I have. It's a lot. So it's for me. There's really no. I just open the ammo can. Oh, here's a box of 9. How many do I need? I need 2 boxes for today's range trip. So, yeah, I complete where you're coming from, Ken. When you're shooting that much, you almost have to really keep it in that budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, most 9mm shooters, if you're shooting even just 200, 300 rounds a month,
yeah,
no, probably not. Especially unless you're doing something very specifically. Also, I'm loading for a specific condition, right? So
100%.
if I'm shooting USPSA and I know it's a chrono match, I'm loading for that minor power factor, right? So I'm targeting a bullet weight and speed to make sure that the gun functions properly, but I get that soft. I get the right cycle rate. I get a real soft, so that way that gun shoots flat. If the guys that are shooting open, right, they're not worried about flat. They're worried about getting enough energy to function their muzzle brake, right? So, and you can buy ammo that could do that, but those guys that are running open are all running hand loads, and have more money than sense. So,
well, the other thing is if you're running a softer load, you're gonna pay up the nose to get powder puff loads.
Mm-hmm.
As far as factory stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna pay up the nose. It's not good.
So 2 years ago it was not that much of a savings. Now the savings is there.
Yeah, and that's like you agree. I agree with you right there, Ken. It's in the last 6-8 months we've noticed that savings reappear that we were at 4 or 5 years ago.
So Gun Prattle said, "Are you guys concerned about the copper shortage I'm hearing about?"
Yes.
They've been talking about a copper shortage for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, and by the way, if you want to join as a guest, you made a comment on that too. Send me email, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll talk. But yeah, I mean, they've been saying for 10 years that we're in a copper shortage.
They've been doing it since I got into reloading. I was 12.
The price of copper for recycling has skyrocketed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still people that are going into new construction and ripping all the wiring out for the copper. You're not going to find copper piping anymore because everybody uses PVC, or PEX. But I mean, there's still houses up here that are brand new houses, and they literally just go in and rip the wiring out of it while it's still being, the Sparky gets the wiring pulled, and they're waiting for the next step. So they leave the job, and everybody else leaves the job, and somebody comes over the weekend and literally strips hundreds of yards of wiring out of the walls because there's no drywall up. It's just holes. So, grab a crowbar and away you go. Pop the staples out and away you go. So, so as far as that goes, no.
If we get to the point where we're hearing ammo manufacturers that they can't produce projectiles or we can't get primer cups made, stuff like that.
So
I think
I am actually talking to manufacturers, and those who are on the Discord. I'm not going to tell you what it is here, but those that are on the Discord, we're doing a little project and trying to find some things out. And I will say that one bullet manufacturer is basically saying that because of the current copper prices, they're going to be raising most of their bullets 6 to 7%, and that may go up from there.
Yeah.
We're just going to see inflation. It's just how it is until diesel prices come down. That's just
also. I was listening to the Beyond the Lens Hunters HD Gold's podcast with Barefoot Brass, and the one thing he was saying is that he's having to pay more for range brass because the recycling costs of essentially the scrap cost of brass has gone up to the point where it's the ranges are better off selling it for scrap versus selling it to somebody who's going to recycle it specifically for reloading.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's been a trend that I've, if you've been paying attention to the prices of that, that's been a 5-year trend.
Yeah.
It's, the copper shortage is the latest thing that they're using to justify the price increase. Okay.
Same thing about the powder 5-6 years ago. It
was COVID. Mm-hmm. If we're just going to go back to 2020, okay, we'll go back 6 years. The first thing was COVID, which was legit because all of a sudden, so for people who don't know, the firearms industry, your busy season for manufacturing of ammunition and firearms, March, April, May, June, July.
Yep.
That's their heavy duties. That's when they're usually running the 3 shifts, round the clock shit, because they're getting ready for August, September, October, November, December. That's your biggest seasons. And so literally with COVID in 2020, you literally shut down the industry for 6 weeks during one of their biggest periods of work. And when they came back, if they were lucky, they were operating at 25% capacity, and they're 6 weeks behind now.
Mm-hmm.
And for at least 6 weeks after they opened, so you're talking basically middle of May until July, you're 6 weeks behind in the middle of the way already, 6 to 8 weeks. And now you're running at 25% capacity for the next 2 months. And then you go to 50% capacity. If you were lucky, you were in a red state where you could go to 75% capacity or 100% capacity by August 1st. Most companies weren't. Most ammunition companies, especially, were running 25 to 50% capacity all the way until September 1st. So you had that. And then because they shut the ports down, that created a floating mess where you've got tankers or you've got cargo ships sitting offshore with brass, with powder, with primers for 6-8 months. And so the companies weren't going to lose their asses on the cost of keeping that stuff on because the cargo ship companies, literally were of a mind to they were threatening to throw everything overboard to get their shem set. At one point in time, there were some of them that were talking about doing that. But you've got a situation where that continued to back up, and then you've got Russia decided to go play army in Ukraine, and so now you've got that demand for gunpowder, and then you've got the October 7th events of, what was it, 24, where Hamas had their attack. So now you've got that hot spot, and so that started sucking a lot of the powder production, because instead of making IMR 4064 or whatever the case may be, they're making gunpowder for bigger things. So then that caused a gunpowder backlog. So you get your gunpowder backlog straightened out, you get your brass straightened out, and now we're into copper, which, part of that is driven by the fact that you've got California with their lead-free stuff, and you've got other states pushing lead-free, so you've got a lot of projectiles where they're making them all out of copper. So you've got instead of just having a copper jacket, now you've got an entire 160 grain, 170 grain, 180 grain projectile that is solid copper. And so you're using an enormous amount more. So it's not necessarily
at this point, it's time for somebody in the industry to find something other than brass and copper for our materials. But
they've tried the 3D printed stuff, and that hasn't worked.
Oh, it has. It's just
to the point where it's feasible for everybody to switch over to it.
It works, but the problem is it's expensive, and you get people like us that want to reload, and you can't reload that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's one use, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh crap, we've got all this stuff here. It's not recyclable. You can't do with it. So now you got to deal with that problem. So unfortunately, I've only talked to CloverTech a couple times. I do not know him well. I would
good
like
dude.
I've
met him. What, 1, 2, 3?
Nick's met him more than I have, because I haven't been to the last 2 SHOT Shows. So, and he hasn't been to GunCon. So,
yes, he has.
Was he at GunCon 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he wasn't at GunCon last year. So, but
I think he was. I had too much beer that weekend, or the cigars caught up very quickly.
Odor, you can't search for the podcast. I have to send you an invite. So, but I have your email, so I will do that.
They were good cigars. I don't remember what the brand was. I have the package.
Well, I'm just saying that the cigars got to your head that much that you were fuzzy. So I'm wondering what kind of cigars they were.
Oh, well, when you're drinking as well, that was a fun time outside of Brownells. We had Mike can attest to it. We had a fun time that weekend.
Yes, we did.
Especially when after that you're driving through the middle of countryside of Iowa. Oh, there's Clover right there.
Yeah. Well, hi, CloverTech. I guess I didn't see you last year then. My bad. Odor, you'll have to send me another email, because I can't, for some reason, find it. So,
all right. So, question: what's CloverTech?
It's not a what; it's a who.
Okay.
And he has a couple of shows on the Firearms Radio Network.
Ah, okay.
So, he's yeah, the gun content was nice. So, maybe it'll make a comeback this year. We're supposed to be at a better venue.
So if you see all the crazy, like, I call it the Fruity Pebbles color at Camerado, a lot of those are Clover's ideas color wise.
Oh, okay.
Which reminds us, we have to get our colors picked out for goals.
Yes, we do. For goals, yes. So, But I plan on being at GunCon this year, so we'll see how that goes. But that's my goal right now, is to make it to GunCon. So I'll see you there. But all right, gang. So as I was saying like 20 minutes ago, if you're looking for camouflage, head over to camerado.com. Use coupon code RELOAD to save 5%. Make sure you check out Clever Tech stuff. It's really cool. It's kind of got a Miami Vice 80s theme, kind of a little bit. But it's definitely cool. There's lots of cool different patterns out there. Sean added a couple new ones about 3 weeks ago, so if you haven't been there in a while, go check it out. So Gun Prattle, got your email and we'll work about it. Yes, absolutely going to be at goals for sure, guaranteed 100%. Beginning of August. What is it, 1st and 2nd, I think?
Yes, I think as well.
GunCon is June 20th in Niles, Ohio. So, but you do need a ticket for for GunCon. Goals, you have to be a member of GOA. So
I gotta renew my membership. I think I'm expired, but I gotta check.
So Pewty Fruity, Shell Shock, or Ghost Hunter, and they're all cartoon themed. And yes, they are awesome. So
Pewty Fruity is probably my favorite.
Yeah, I do like Pewty Fruity. Although Ghost Hunter's growing on me, I might rock.
I haven't looked at them in a while. I need to look at them again.
I've never been a camo guy.
Yeah, Shell Shock's pretty good. Yeah, it's Pewty Fruity for me.
Let's just do this. Come on. I'm already in the email list. And there we go. Oh, he added to the website. All right. So what we want to look at is Pewty Fruity. Boom. That is just awesome. You like that?
Can't miss you with that yellow for sure.
No.
It's camo. You're not supposed to be able to see you.
But see, that's the beautiful part about this.
You will be seen.
Camo. This is Shell Shock. And then this is the newest, which is Ghost Hunter. And I do like, this is growing on me. I really kind of like it.
Why am I seeing Flintstones with that?
Hey,
I don't know
he
why.
said it's cartoon based.
I'm truly seeing the Flintstones with that one.
Right?
That Patriot one that's at the very bottom is pretty good.
So this is the original. This is Warden. That's the original one he designed. And then we've got a bunch of others. So the three most recent were the Ghost. You've got Crusader, literally just the hooded sun shirt. And then, so the Ghost Hunter, the Crusader, and the Patriot. And this is the Patriot. So, and the Patriot comes in a few different options. So, I will warn everybody, they do run small, so order bigger than you normally would. That's not what I wanted. I wanted Basilisk. This is my personal favorite color. I do love it. So I do have a shirt, but I did not order big enough. So it's a little small. I done button up. But yeah, I mean, you can check it out. He's also got the Sea Smoke that he worked on with John Patton from Gun Collective. So that's kind of that. So. Yes, he did. I heard about the matching shoes. So. But yeah, so that's Camerado. Remember, coupon code reload, save 5%. So, yeah, I definitely, he likes the Radical, the Scout, which was based off the Sealess Scouts, Nightshade and Kingsguard, Raider and Winterfell. And he goes, oh, hell, I like them all. I mean, they are great. So, but, yeah, so, you know, you're looking for camouflage. It's not necessarily straight for hunting. Aha. So he said, Puty Fruity is Flintstones. Shell Shock is TMNT. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then Ghost Hunter is Scooby-Doo. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yep, I see it now.
Yep. Mystery Machine, big time. So. Yeah, I got to get Sea Smoke too. So I got to get them all. But, you know, I think Sean ought for a bulk discount.
Especially for us on the network.
Right? So, but yeah, swing over there, check him out. If you're looking for podcasts, check out Clover Tax. He's got some good stuff there. But if you go over to the Firearms Radio Network, or it's firearmsradio.net, and then on the homepage, you can actually see all of the different podcasts that we have on the network. And there's a crap ton. And he's always adding new ones. So, you know, check it out. By the way, yeah, as he just mentioned in the chat, it's not just shirts. You got your shirts, your pajama pants. Oh, my pajama pants are amazing. They 5 years old now, and they haven't pilled once. So, you got your hoodies. They call them Hoochie Daddy shorts. They're kind of really short shorts, I guess. I'm not gonna buy them, but nobody needs to see that.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it.
All I know is I'm going to be buying a set of Rhodesian camo shorts. Rhodey camo. The short shorts. If you know what I mean, I'm doing it just so I can have it to go with my FAL.
Oh, he's got Falco holsters coming up on the show Thursday, so check it out if you're looking for holsters. Yeah. So, all right, gang. On that note, shout out to everybody that joined in the chat. Shout out to CloverTac for joining in the chat. Big shout out to Todd for coming on. Shout out to Gun Prattle for popping on and sending me an email, and we'll definitely work that out to get him on the show sometime. So, like I said, no show next week. We'll be back on the 19th. So, I don't know what we're going to talk about yet. We'll figure it out. So. And my dog just crap dusted me. Damn it. I guess that's the sign to end the show. Dog's got to go outside. Time to end the show. So on that note, keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the Millsip short bus.
Take some to the range with you.
Support Second Amendment and Second Amendment organizations. Make sure you're paying attention to what who's running this fall. You need to get off your asses and vote, because otherwise the whole country is going to be dealing with bullshit like Virginia is. Elections have consequences, kids. Virginia basically in one election went from having gun rights to not having gun rights. So, make sure you're supporting the organizations that are fighting for you. Four that come to mind off the top of my head: GOA, Second Amendment Foundation, FPC, and NRA is back in the fight. So, make sure you're paying attention to what's going on in your local and state too, because they're always trying. The anti-gunners have stopped the national, and they're working on states now. So, because they're getting better wins. And if we elect the right people in the first place, then we don't have to worry about taking them to court. Because when we take them to court, it costs twice as much because they're spending our money to fight us. So, at any rate, most importantly, gang, if you're struggling, 988 or 1-800-273-8255 from a landline. Remember 988, you can text or call. And make sure you're checking in on your people. Ultimately, if you know somebody that needs help, try and help them to get help. You can only do so much, though, gang. So remember that. Don't play the what if game if you lose somebody, because then that just destroys you. If you're struggling, reach out, get some help. We want you here. We definitely need you here.